Good evening, ladies. This is Monique Nubia Sunshine coming to you with Chapter 2 of Sacred Woman, Part 2. Now, as I discussed in the first part about doing your altars and setting up your altars and getting ourselves prepared on this journey, now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the other different rituals that we can do as part of our journey through Sacred Woman. And if you have the book, I would love for you guys to follow along and go through each step as I'm going to read briefly from each one. I'm not going to dive into it completely because I expect that you ladies are reading. And those who do not have the book, I will be posting so that way you get another sense and you can get to see, not just hear what I'm speaking, and that way you can have the perception of what you need to do for yourself. But as I mentioned before, right now this is the time of doing the work and actually working together. I do want to say really quickly before I go into the reading that it is very important for you ladies to open up about your womb, what is happening with it right now, and why is it that you want to do this journey. Because it is a specific reason why we're all involved. And because we are all communing in this particular situation, it is always best to cleanse first by being honest about what is happening with your womb. And as I posted on the event page today, what is happening in your womb? What is your womb story? I've given my womb story in the first radio show, and I'll give it again for those women who are interested in knowing. I'm very open about what is happening in my womb, and I can tell you that I'm on this journey because I'm still not in a place of wellness with my womb, and I'm trying to get there. There are other things emotionally that have to heal. There's things that happen spiritually and physically that need to heal in order for me to become a better me and become that sacred woman. So I'm not going to be afraid to share that. And I encourage you ladies to do the same. A lot of our stories may even be similar, and we may be able to benefit by opening up with one another and helping one another. So as I go into the reading, I'm going to talk about spiritual baths real quick. And I'm just going to read a small passage from the book. Begin your journey into Gateway Zero by entering the depths of the ocean. One way to honor this intention is to create a drawn ritual of taking a spiritual bath with Epsom salts or sea salts. When you rise between the hours of 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., make a ceremony out of your bath, light candles and incense and play soft, inspiring music. Bless your bath water. Use the bath to release all negativity and everything that blocks free movement, light, love, and healing, and peace throughout your sacred womb. Add the essential oil of frankincense to the bath water for your crown chakra or arit. Frankincense attunes you to the divine oneness of the inner inspiration and divine wisdom, and it brings forth divinity and sacredness of the womb. It eliminates confusion and depression. Place 7 drops of frankincense in your bath water and add 7 drops of frankincense in a bowl of purified water on your altar and sprinkle a few drops around your prayer space. Now, what I do with my sacred baths, how I take my sacred baths, I use the pink Himalayan sea salt, and I add coconut oil to my water. It makes my skin nice and soft. And I do add crystals and stones into my water. I add my yoni egg, which is my jade. I add my rose quartz, which is about my love and just love and relationships and in general, forgiveness and that kind of thing. I also add my clear quartz, and I add a few other stones to my liking into my bath. I also play meditation music, any type of music that kind of soothes and calms me, because I do meditate in the bath. It was asked of me earlier from a young lady if it's okay to have a glass of wine. And there's nothing wrong with having libations and having a glass of wine, as long as you don't get intoxicated, and as long as you don't go as far as feeling a little nice, because then that takes away from the whole spiritual aspect of it, and it just becomes tainted and altered. So I wouldn't do it myself personally. For a sacred ritual, for a regular bath, yeah, I wouldn't mind. But for doing a sacred prayer and a ritual like that, I would advise not to go too far with it. Exercise your just your conscious mind in knowing what you're doing. So now, we talked about the altar before and setting up the altar. We now want to move forward to opening the way. And opening the way would be in prayer, in meditation. And what is suggested in the book is opening the way. In your prayers of each gateway, the guardians, you may use whatever words you pour from your heart. So, for example, there's a prayer that you can create for Gateway 0. Now, she gives, Queen Afua gives an example of a prayer in here, but like I said, if you want it to be truly personal, then you have the option of creating your own prayers, if whatever is suitable for what you want to do for your sacred work. Libations, as I mentioned earlier, is the act of pouring liquid, such as water or spirits, meaning alcohol, as a holy offering to the one creator. In sacred women practices, we use purified water that has been blessed and offered in ceremonially to the Most High. For libation in Gateway 1, pour a small amount of water from a cup and sprinkle a few drops with your fingers from the bowl onto the earth if you're outside, or onto a plant that you may have on your altar, or if you just want to sprinkle it on your altar, it's up to you. And then it suggests that when you pour the libation, you say a prayer, or you say, and it's sort of like a prayer into your gateway. And I'm just going to read briefly. I pour this libation in praise and adoration of the Sacred Mother, the guardian of Gateway 0, Nut, the great cosmic mother. I pour the libation in adoration of the ancestors of Gateway 0, and she names her ancestors. And then she says, I pour the libation in praise and adoration of the elders of Gateway 0, and she names more relatives of her own. And then she pours, I pour this libation in praise and adoration of my divine self. So she honors herself. So it's very important to include your ancestors as well as including yourself. You don't want to leave you out of that whole equation, because overall you're seeking to become a sacred woman and get that healing. Sacred Woman Spirit Prayer. And it is suggested to ring a bell. So you can have a Buddhist bell, a chime. You can have something, a chant. You can say namaste, or you can say ashe, or you can say whatever is comfortable for you at the beginning of a meditation and prayer, and at the end of it, to affirm and confirm. And that's what's suggested. It says, gently ring your bell, or softly play another sacred instrument at the beginning and end of each prayer. And it's suggested to do that. I'd probably do that myself. I think that's an excellent idea. And then you have a sacred womb prayer. And she gives an example of a sacred womb prayer where you give a prayer to your womb. You talk to your womb. Also, a chant that is suggested. And it is suggested to do a chant from the first language. And you say it 4 times. Nut, Pu, Nitur, Hemet, if I said that correctly. I'm still learning. And that means I am a sacred woman. And you can do that. Then she makes a suggestion of doing the fire breath. And it says, prepare your fire breath, which is rapid breathing, by slowly inhaling 4 times and slowly exhaling 4 times. And then when you are totally at ease, you begin your fire breaths. Allow each deep fire breath to represent the opening of 1,000 petal lotuses of illumination and radiance that will ultimately allow you to reach your Nefertum, the ultimate African lotus gateway. You would begin with 50 to 100 fire breaths, and with each new gateway, you will add 100 more fire breaths until the 9th gateway of sacred initiation. You will be performing 1,000 breaths of power and light. Now, I know fire breaths from when I do Kundalini. I used to take Kundalini meditation classes, and I was taught to do fire breaths. So it's not an easy thing. And if you're doing, like I'll give you an example of a fire breath. It is suggested by Queen Afua to take 4 deep inhale and exhale through your nose and out your nose, or through your nose and out your mouth. Now, it's suggested to always take in breath through your nose. Never take breath in from your mouth, because you will exhaust yourself. You take deep breaths as far as you can go. And then fire breaths. That's a fire breath. Fire breath is rapidly breaths being given out rapidly. So you take that deep breath in, you hold it, and then you pump the breath out through your abdominals. Now, sometimes some of us need to push it out by using our hands to push it out, or we can use our abdominal muscles, which is great exercise, but it may not be as quick as you being able to pump the breath out. And the purpose of being able to pump the breath out is that you're pushing out all of the negativity. You're releasing your breath completely. And you continue to practice this every single day, you'll get better at it. Initially, when I first started doing it, I started to get woozy. You have to be careful, especially if you eat or drink something before you do it. You don't want to do fire breaths then. You want to try to do it on as empty stomach as possible. You also don't want to force it out to where you're hurting yourself. You want to be as relaxed and as comfortable as you can be with the fire breaths. And I will do a guided meditation on that and post it. So you make sure that you exhale fully as your abdomen contracts and the lungs release your breath completely. Practice the fire breath a few times slowly, and then do it 50 times rapidly as you inhale and exhale. So it'll be consistent of and you just continue to do that. If you become lightheaded or breathless or hyperventilating, simply breathe into a small paper bag, or take your time. Take your time. Just go to your pace. Okay? So, Gateway Sacred Womb Meditation. Each day for 21 days, you will spend working through Gateway 0, increasing the length of time you spend in meditation. The longer you are in meditation, the deeper your peace will be, and I can certainly vouch for that. I could tell you, I used to spend hours in meditation. Initially, when I first started, I couldn't gain focus, and I took a mindful meditation class. And what mindful meditation class did for me was help me to stay focused on what I was meditating for, helping me to be able to pay attention to the breath and not thinking about all these other things that's going on. Once I got to the place where I can focus more on what's happening in the meditation, I started doing yoni breathing meditations for about half an hour, depending on how often I wanted to, or how much I wanted to work with the yoni in meditation. And then I would go right into my tantric rituals. So sometimes my meditations will go from an hour to 3 hours. I believe the most I meditate straight through was about 3.5 hours. And most of it was guided through my tantric guru, and he would lead me into my yoni breathing exercise, and then bring me into my tantric rituals, which was my orgasmic or creating orgasms in order to manifest. And a very, very, very powerful. And sometimes we did the ritual until I had nothing more to give, until all my orgasms was meditate out, to the point where manifestations began immediately before I even finished my meditation. Sometimes things would be happening, and I'll explain that another time. But it was very, very awesome, and I do encourage spending lots of time in meditation. I don't do it as much as I used to because I've gotten to a place of peace. I've gotten to a place where I can be cooking dinner and be meditating at the same time. I could be at work in a heated conversation with someone, or someone having a heated conversation with me, and be meditating right there on the spot. When I was in my accident 2 weeks ago, rather than panicking and freaking out, I remained in meditative state, which enabled me not to lose consciousness when my body kept saying, you're going to lose consciousness, and my mind kept saying, no, you're not. So it's very powerful when you have that ability to meditate, and I think it's important for all of us to learn. And for all those ladies who have difficulty through meditation, please let me know. I do recorded sessions. I could do one over the phone, a guided meditation that's catered specifically to you, to help you maintain your focus, and to help you be able to build on your meditation. I also do the yoni breathing sessions over the phone, and if anyone is interested in tantric rituals, I do that as well. So that will help us in our journey. And I will come to you ladies again, because I'm going to wrap it up and read some more of this chapter 2. Chapter 2 is very involved. Chapter 2 is very important because it is about setting this up. And I'm hoping by Saturday that you ladies will have your altar set up, and you'll have at least a written ritual of what you're going to do, as well as your womb healing philosophy, how you plan to heal what is happening in your womb, and being honest about what's going on in your womb. Just writing a little something about what is truly happening and why you are truly on this journey. So I hope you ladies will share a little bit more. I hope we can have a real good talk happening on Sunday and have some ladies read from the chapter. I would love that. But I thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope I've been helpful to you, and have a good night, ladies. Namaste.